moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
Dang, this is sweet.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's a cool setup.
It took me a long time to get to this point, you know?
Yeah. This is
trial and error, figuring it out.
awesome.
I knew in my head, like at the beginning, what I wanted to get done here and how I wanted it to look. So it took me a long time. I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever.
Yeah. We still don't, but we pretend. We do our best,
pretend.
right? we hang out on my basement that flooded, so then we were like upended for a while, and it was a pain, but we're making it work. We're doing it.
That's right on, man. I've been listening to some of your podcasts.
Well,
They're great.
Thank you.
So if you're listening right now, welcome to season 3 of Careers Over Beers podcast. I'm back. I'm the host. I'm Jesse, and I'm with another podcast host.
What's up?
Introduce yourself, man.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy David Michael Hahn, a.k.a. DMH, a.k.a. Big City Dave, a.k.a. Young Step, in the place to be. Just hanging out, doing the thing.
Dang, dude. I need to get some more nicknames.
Yeah,
like
I was
that.
it's a long drive out here for me. It was like 30 minutes. So I had a lot to think about.
Yeah.
How do I introduce myself? So I had the Royals game on, and I was just like, hey, everyone, it's David Michael Hahn.
You got that radio voice, though.
Thank you.
Know?
Thank you.
I need to talk more like you guys do.
Yes. Well, one of our guys does work in radio.
Oh, really?
He is the voice of a high school team down in Oklahoma. Shout out Evan Farbach, my co-host of the Wichita Podcast.
Yeah, so tell everybody, you do the Wichita Podcast.
Yes.
And you're rolling up on 50 episodes almost?
Rolling
now?
up on 50 episodes. So we do the Wichita Podcast. It is a podcast all about the history of Wichita.
I love it.
So, we look at just random things that you maybe have heard of, maybe haven't. We've done episodes like the Coliseum, Town East, Kellogg Avenue. We've done episodes on things that people maybe don't remember, like Wild West World. People remember Joyland. That's a bad example. But
I actually do remember Wild West World vaguely.
Okay.
I went there once, I believe.
Yeah, me too, although I worked there. So it was a whole
you
thing.
did?
Yeah. That if you listen to the episode, I get
Workers
the whole,
only went there once too, though, right?
Basically. But we did like episodes like on the Wichita Poet. You probably never heard of
No.
the Wichita Poet, and some other cool stuff. So yeah, it's a history podcast, all about Wichita. And then we also have another platform, which I'm not wearing the shirt, but we also have another shirt for 3YUM6. It's a podcast, platform, blog, videos about food.
And that's also right up my alley.
In the 316.
I think we share like the same interests and everything, honestly.
Do you want to write for it?
Write for it?
Yeah, do you write?
I can. I don't really do it often.
Do you think we do it often? We have no idea what we're doing.
I eat more than I write.
That sounds about like us. We'll talk.
Okay.
Should we open a beer?
Let's do it, dude. Hey, sorry, I don't have any glasses right now.
No.
Go get one?
That's all right. I'll be
Sure?
fine.
Okay.
I will be fine. This is Warbeard.
Yes, sir. Warbeard by Walnut River. I actually met the owner of Walnut River Brewing Company, so shout out to you. I'm going to be in touch with you soon. This is a great beer.
We'll get them pushed my way when you're done, because that'd be perfect for 3M6, even though...
that'd be awesome.
I guess Eldorado's in the 316.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
I just thought of a new video concept idea for 3M6 called Drinks with My Father-in-Law, where him and I go to like breweries and cideries and vineyards and whatever in the local area, and then talk about the alcohol we're drinking and just drink.
I love it. Yeah.
And I bring that up because you actually know my father-in-law.
I do?
Ian Henry.
I do. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Ian Henry, if you're listening, shout out to
He
you.
probably will. He's really been getting into my podcast, and I told him yesterday, I was like, I'm going on this podcast called Careers Over Beers, and he's like, my friend Jesse, he runs that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. It's a small world.
It is a small
Yeah,
world.
he was my coworker for a while.
Yep. I'm married to his oldest daughter.
Well, that's badass, dude.
Yeah, it's been pretty
Yeah.
cool. It's been all right, I guess. We make it work.
So you're going to go drink beer with Ian Henry?
Yeah, that'd be the plan. So you'll have to come join us sometime.
And you're going to do a video one, so you're going to have to bring like a mobile studio with you almost?
Just my cell phone.
Just your cell phone?
We're very low key.
You know what's surprising to me that I find all the time is, people overthink things, especially when I was starting this podcast. I wanted the video production quality to be amazing and look professional,
Right.
Most people just like to see a shitty-ass cell phone video these days.
They don't care.
They just want to see something like raw, like I'm actually in there doing it,
Yeah. Well, I just got a new phone. iPhone. It's got the 3 on there.
Ooh.
And so we just did our first video with it on Friday. Shout out Pig Out Bros. It's a video on 3M6 where me and my buddy Big Klotz go around and eat lots of food.
Yeah.
We did a food challenge. It's probably, I don't know when this is going to air, but by the time this tomorrow, well, it won't be out by tomorrow because I've not edited the footage. I haven't even looked at it. So, if this is coming out tomorrow, then our 48th and 49th episode are not out yet, and Pick Out Bros is not out. But we got a lot of cool stuff coming.
Well, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things, don't you?
I do a lot of things.
I need to get more involved in things.
It's a little overrated, but it's also sort of underrated. Depends on who you ask. If you ask my wife, it's probably overrated.
Yeah.
But she's thankfully very supportive and lets me do things like come here on a Monday night to drink some beer and talk about me. She's probably tired of me talking about me.
Yeah.
So.
You know what I love is that you can tell people you're going to go drink at a bar, you're going to go drink with a buddy, and usually that's not something that your wife or significant other is okay with.
Yeah.
But you do a podcast and you can be a straight up alcoholic and people are like, hey, you're killing it out there,
Doing
Jesse.
Great.
You're doing great, Jesse.
I love it.
I'd just do what I did before, but with a camera in front of me.
Exactly. Did you get this alcohol at your local liquor store
Of course I did.
You must own?
Kraus Liquor.
Yeah, Kraus Liquor. Is that your spot?
That's my cousin's.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys run this town, huh?
Well, there's a lot of us here.
We're in Colwich, but this is really Krauswich. I've decided.
We're all cousins out here, so you could say that my family does own this place, basically.
Okay, I like it. And I feel like I'm in Seinfeld right now.
Do you?
With the booth?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You kind of got that
it's got the
cafe vibe going on.
This is so cool.
I was going for like a bar vibe, I wanted to get like into the nitty-gritty, something that you would tell me.
I feel like I'm at a bar.
That's what I was going for.
The lights are like, obviously it's for the footage and the recording, but it's very, very cool. Love the sign.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your podcast too. I actually just listened to an episode about Delano.
Yes, with my wife.
Yeah, that was a great one. And, I've been a little bit familiar with that because my mom is huge into history and she volunteers at Cowtown. And she always told me those stories about the old days. So it's good to hear you guys researching it and talking about it, how crazy it actually was.
Yeah, it was a lawless place. For those that don't know, where Delano is now is where it was. But at the time, it was kind of, right outside of Wichita. And it was right across the river. And people would go, the cows, or the people bringing the cows, the cattlemen, all that stuff would come up to Wichita. There was a big cattle head here, or whatever you call it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll call it that. They would just, go across the river to Delano where there were no laws.
Dude, it was the Wild West.
And they would just shoot each other and brothel it up.
Yeah.
Hang out. They had races on Sundays where naked ladies would run down the river and they'd bet on who'd win.
I heard you talking about that. You put your wife on the spot.
I did.
Too.
She said no. I think, right? She didn't. She was.
She said no, but you were still like, I would love to see you do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty savage.
Yeah. Well, that's how I do. I love my wife. Ian Henry's daughter. But yeah, no, it was a crazy, crazy place. And finally, Wichita was just like, no, we gotta do something here.
Yeah, Wichita was the uppity blue collar folk or white collar folks, and Delano was the Wild West.
Yes,
you had Billy the Kid coming through town.
Billy the Kid was here. A lot of the people you would know or have heard of came through and hung out there in the Delano district. And now it's a cool area.
My mom, what's crazy? She grew up down on like South Seneca, like McCormick and Seneca area.
Okay.
And she knew this little old man when she was a little girl. This is probably the early 70s. And this little old man knew Billy the Kid when he was younger.
Oh, yeah.
And he always told her he was a punk-ass kid.
Sure.
Hated that kid.
Yeah. Billy the Kid, terrible kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was an ass. I'm sure. I don't know. That's crazy that he would know her, or know him, but I guess that's the math.
He must have been really old, but yeah.
Yeah, people think that the Wild West was so long ago, and it's just the late 1800s.
Wasn't that long ago?
For us, it was long ago. For those that were born in the early 1900s, like our grandparents, that's not that crazy,
right? Yeah,
they basically lived in the Wild West.
They did, and I don't think it was as glamorous as the movies make it out to be.
No, probably not.
Dirty and nasty.
Yeah, I've heard the stories. My grandpa was born probably in the 20s, and he was born in Wichita, and he would at 4 or 5 years old be selling newspapers on the street barefoot, trying to make a couple pennies to help pay for the family or whatever, and it's just like, ugh.
Be insane.
Yeah.
We don't even know what struggle's like.
No, we do not.
Like BO everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody had deodorant.
No one had.
Can you imagine that shit?
Barely. I've been just talking with my wife today about maybe getting stronger deodorant.
Oh really?
Speaking of deodorant, I've been sweating through my deodorant.
Yeah.
I don't think I smell bad. You can come get a whiff. I did shower before I came.
I haven't smelled anything yet.
Thank you. I've smelled this beer.
But my smell still isn't 100% back after COVID,
the
honestly.
vid? You know what they take when you take Corona and David and you mix it together?
What's that?
COVID.
Oh. Never thought of that.
That's my joke. That's my terrible joke that makes my wife roll her eyes every time.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
You came up with it, obviously.
I did. Yeah, COVID was a pain. But I guess we're not here about COVID. I mean, we can be.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's fine. It's been talked at now.
Yeah, you can go find millions of videos online if you want to listen to people talk about COVID.
Yes.
What I want to talk about is what you do, because you're a lawyer.
I am a lawyer. It's my side job. I like to say I play one on TV.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Lawyer is your side job.
That's what I say. It's my real job.
You consider podcasting your main focus?
No.
No?
No. If my boss is listening, lawyering is my main focus. Although he doesn't know what a podcast is, so it's fine. Yeah. I told him I started my podcast, and he was just like, "Oh, cool. What's a podcast?" And I'm like, "You're never gonna." Mm-hmm. But my receptionist will most likely listen to this. Shout out Kendra. So
hell yeah.
Yes, I'm a lawyer. It's my day job. It is my real job. It's what actually pays the bills. Podcasting does pay, like half my water bill.
Does it?
Technically, I guess. We do get paid a little bit to podcast.
That's more than me.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I actually got some free root beer from New Way.
Hey.
They sponsored me.
Love that. I love New Way.
But I saw you guys just surpassed 10,000 downloads, I believe. Was that on your Instagram page?
Yes, we maybe have hit 11 by now.
It's crazy, man.
But we've done
great. I mean, you've been doing it for what?
A little over a year.
A
year and some change.
That's a crazy first year.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And we're really starting to kind of find some momentum. I think, it's one of those things that got a lot of friends and family, and a lot of people follow like our Instagram or our Facebook page because we have a very obvious reason why someone would follow Wichita, right? You live in Wichita. Ooh, the Wichita Podcast. And then they never listen to an episode, but they follow us. So,
right.
And so for a while, we have like the Wild West World episode that I mentioned earlier has over 500 listens.
It's amazing.
But it's also our first episode. And I like to say that people gave us a chance, hated us, never listened to us again.
That's just how it goes with this stuff, though, man. It's like you're going to get so many on certain videos, but you're only going to get so many that stay around.
Right. And
especially on YouTube.
There is we're not on YouTube. There are some statistics involved of, what do people want to listen to, right? I mean, we put out an episode and I'm like, oh, this would be a great episode. And 100 people listen to it. Yeah. Compared to the others. And okay, that sounds like I'm bragging. Oh, 100 people listen to it. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we don't need to do an episode like that again for a while or whatever. But we recently have done some things. We just made merchandise that we kind of I sold to friends and family.
Where can I get one of those?
Just talk to me. I'll get you one.
All right.
I should have brought you one.
Let's make it happen.
That's on me. I'll get you. We'll go have a drink with my father-in-law and I'll bring you one.
Dude, we're gonna have to do that.
That'd be a lot of fun actually.
Yeah.
And so we're really starting to get people oh, what's the Wichita Podcast? And I mean we live in a town of the greater Wichita area is over half a million people. Yeah. 500, 600,000 people. And I mean, no one's heard of us because, and this is, first of all, getting in the podcast medium has got to be the lowest form of what people are interested in content.
Oh yeah.
No one listens to podcasts.
It's not clickbaity. You have to be interested in the subject matter. It's not, it's a much harder grind than somebody that's making crazy videos of food reviews or something on YouTube.
Well, that's why we kind of started 3M6 it was an avenue to give people content that they could read, share easily, watch easily, and not have to spend an hour mowing their grass listening to me go on about Century 2.
Hey, that's good stuff though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone. And so that's kind of a battle that we've felt, I'm sure you feel. And so we're starting to kind of I wore this up to Kansas City and I ran into a handful of people that are from Wichita. And they're like, oh my God, I would love that podcast.
Oh, really?
Let me check it out. I had one guy, some guy at Walgreens was like, is that a podcast? So yeah, it's a podcast. He's probably going to hear this now. Shout out that guy. And he's just like, oh, cool. I love podcasts. Can we, and he went and followed me on Instagram. I was like, great. I'm like, you ever been to Wichita? He's like, yeah, a really long time ago. And I'm like, I don't know if the podcast is for you.
I don't know if you'll understand what I'm talking about.
But by all means, listen. I'm not going to stop you. But I was just like, all right. I like your podcast. It transcends a little more past Wichita, which is nice.
Yeah, it does. And that's something that, I had to decide when I was starting this is what I actually wanted to focus on and do. And I knew that there was already a handful of stuff out there in Wichita that's focused on Wichita. There's not much in Colwich to focus on as a podcast.
Crosswich.
So, I figured at least within the United States, I should be able to have fairly relatable people on here that you can listen to. And I knew I always wanted to do video too, which they say YouTube is not the best thing to do for a podcast, but I was like, I don't care. And it's been fun. Like YouTube is fun for me.
Back when I listened to more podcasts, ironically, I don't listen to as many as I used to. I would watch the YouTube feed over the Spotify feed. So I think it's fun. You see us and you can do weird
sometimes
stuff.
you listen to somebody and you're like, I wonder what that person looks like, you know?
Right.
And you can pull it up on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
Or sometimes I'm doing stupid shit like shotgunning a beer or something. And
hey, it's early.
You don't really want to
listen to war beers, but
I've never shotgunned a war beer.
Yeah, I don't want to die tonight. Tonight's not my day, but yeah, it's we would do more video, but we edit a lot more than you probably do.
Yeah.
Because I try to keep it as Wichita specific and centric, and we get off topic really easily.
Oh yeah.
I guess this is a good opportunity just to, and then we can talk about me being a lawyer.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is a good opportunity just to kind of tell you about my co-hosts. So I have my one co-host that lives in Wichita is named Andrew Manis, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And he and I definitely get off topic a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you add Evan, who I mentioned earlier, we like rarely talk about. I mean, the episodes like are 2 hours in length. I'm like, I got to cut this down, guys. But Evan lives in Oklahoma. Andrew lives here in town. You'll hear, if you listen to our podcast, most of the time you'll hear me and Andrew. You will hear Evan sometimes. You'll hear my wife sometimes when I had her fill in, I think, like 3 episodes. And then a lot of times we interview people.
Have you ever done a solo episode?
No.
No?
I don't think people want that.
Yeah. You have to really be on your shit if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think people want to hear me for that long. I mean, they already have to hear me. Like on the episodes I lead, they have to hear me for like 95% of the episode. But at least you have Andrew in the background laughing.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of podcasts though that are out there where people are just sitting by themselves in a closet or whatever, and I'm like, hats off to you guys, because the amount of research and preparation you have to do to just flow for a straight hour or however long you're going, it's like, I couldn't do that.
No. My wife turned me on to this lady does like different mythology, like Greek mythology. Well, she started with Greek and then and I listened to a couple episodes and she does a good job, really great history, but it is difficult to listen to just her. And that's no knock on her. That's just tough.
Oh, it is.
Monologues are tough for short times, for an hour.
Have you ever heard Hardcore History?
No.
Dan Carlin's podcast?
Is it him by himself?
Oh, dude. It's like 6 hours of him just speaking so eloquently with like flawlessly, no stuttering over his words. It's completely insane. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, me neither.
I have to edit out my I can't read. And my wife always makes fun of me because she listens to me edit a lot, and she's just like, how are you a lawyer? Good segue into lawyer. She's like, how do you talk? Because I'm just like, yeah, so I'm drinking this beer wort. It's an Irish blue, and I'm just like, and I'm like literally reading the words and I can't do it. Because I want to be like fancy with it. And
sure. You don't want to leave gaps in your sentences.
I always have like a typo
natural
somewhere. Yeah. And so she's just like, you don't talk. And I'm like, I know, I don't. So we have to edit.
What made you want to start doing a podcast in the first place?
Me personally, they say you hit your quarter life crisis or your midlife crisis. I kind of hit a third of my life crisis, hopefully living till I'm 90. 30 years old hit. I've been married for not a year, and we have our first kid. And I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? Outside of like, I want to raise a family, and lawyering's whatever. I mean, it's good, but it's
you were already working as a lawyer though.
Already working as a lawyer.
You just needed something more spicy.
Yeah, I'm really into like smoking my own meats.
Same.
I'm into like making beard oil. I'm into like other like kind of random hobbies like that, but I needed something like creative. I'm a creative guy. I'm a like okay musician. I'm like an okay singer. My wife and her whole family are all like very talented musicians and singers. Shout out Emily Hahn on Spotify, Brighter Tomorrow. That's my wife's EP that's out. And also shout out Anna Sophia Henry, who has like 700,000 streamers on Spotify or monthly listeners. Yeah, she's killing it. She lives in England and she's just killing it.
That's crazy.
But they're like, and they're all the most humble people in the world. And it's really annoying because they're like, oh yeah, no, you're just as good as us. I'm like, no. But I needed a creative outlet, and I've really been into like making videos, making music, even though I'm really bad at it. And so podcasting just seemed like a natural endeavor to kind of do. I knew how to use like GarageBand, which is what I use to edit. When we make videos, like I know how to make them funny and stuff like that. I just needed a topic to do it, right? And I've made, if you look up my YouTube David Michael Hahn, you'll find there's several videos I've done that are just like stupid and funny or whatever.
Okay, see, I didn't find that, but I did find your Wichita Podcast YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, and it's been mostly music. There are more things coming out on that soon. But yeah, it was just a creative outlet for me and then I started making money on it, and I was like, I've never made money on something I've created, and it was just kind of a cool thing. Well,
it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, and so like my buddies who do the podcast with me, like we all went to high school together, and Evan and I are like best friends, and we were each other's best men in our weddings. We lived together at Oklahoma State, and Andrew's a few years older than us, but we were all in high school, and we've always kind of kept in contact. And we always, for years, and none of us lived in Wichita for a long time. When we're home for winter break, let's get together and talk about doing a podcast, and then we would never do it.
Yep,
for years,
dude. That's the same story.
Yeah, and I finally was like, guys, if we're gonna do this, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And so like my daughter is 2 weeks old. I've got on the calendar, let's have a phone call. We're talking. I'm like, all right, what do we all have in common? Well, we all like sports. They both work in sports. I like sports, but I'm not qualified to talk about it on air. And sports is tough because it's so fleeting. You know, you can talk about the score tonight. It's irrelevant in like a week.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
That's going to consume your entire life.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, what do we have in common? We're all from Wichita. Great. Wichita Podcast the name was open. Didn't seem like it really existed. There's Wichita Life podcast, but they're more like on, they do a podcast, but they have a lot more really great stuff going on. Shout out Wichita Life. And they do more like the lifestyle and like keeping you up to date and all that. And I'm like, no, we need to do the history. And so we just plowed forward and said, let's do it.
I love it.
And yeah, here we are.
Was the Wichita Podcast the first name you came up with and it was open?
Yeah.
Damn, you're lucky, dude.
I know.
I looked through like 30 names before I came up with one that sounded decent enough for me
to use. But it's
Right?
fantastic. I love the name. And so many people have told me about your pod, and several people I know have been on it.
Yeah.
Like Vanessa Whiteside, who did the 100 thing. She came
great.
on ours. Ryan Malone. Yeah.
Butterfly.
So, Butterfly. I went to high school with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And his brother I knew a little bit. That's why I was like, is it Ryan? But I went to high school with him.
Wichita is like a small, or is like a big small town.
Yeah.
You know?
Somebody described it on one of our podcasts. Like it's big enough that you can go anywhere and you won't know anyone, but it's also small enough you can go somewhere and see someone you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I always remark to my wife whenever we go out to eat and we don't see anyone we know, like how?
Yeah.
How? Like we're like in a 2-minute radius of our house.
Yeah.
And like all of our friends live in this area. Like how are none of them here right now?
You can't try to hide either. Like if you think you're going to sneak out, like tell your friends you're busy and you're out somewhere, you're going to run into somebody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So yeah, it was available. We went with it. And it just kind of naturally progressed into what it is today.
It's amazing, man. Congratulations on that, by the way. That's a killer first year.
Thank you. We're very excited. We've got some big things still planned coming. Here's to the next 50. I guess. We gotta get through the first 50 first, but here's to the next 50.
Did you ever hit a point where you were like, I don't know if we're gonna have enough material to keep on pumping these out or whatever?
Not yet. So that was like the first thing we did was we created a Google spreadsheet. And I said, everybody go in there and just write down all the ideas that you think. And I, within the first 15 minutes, had like 40 plus ideas.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a
ton of episodes right
and
there.
And then Andrew went in and he had like 20. And I was like, boom, that's like 60 episodes. And we've not even done like half of the ones because things have come up. And then it's kind of a running joke that Evan never went in and he still has not gone in and added his. So if he's listening, come on, man.
Yeah, get your list together, buddy.
Let's go. He's busy re-listening to Serial, speaking of podcasts, for the third time. And I'm just like, we all know how it ends, buddy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you want to do more murder mysteries on he led our Wichita Massacre episode, the Carr Brothers. So that's kind of, and I did the Wichita Poet, those are kind of our soirees into.
We have some famous people from here, some famous restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Pizza Hut.
Pizza we've talked about. We've done White Castle.
Who bailed on us.
Yep. We interviewed Scott Redler with Freddy's. He was one of the co-creators. That was our first episode on 3M6.
Yeah. I would love to interview that guy.
He's cool.
I need to reach out to him.
I can get you the contact of the person that probably you need to talk to.
Yeah. Freddie was my cousin. So
we are in Colwich. Yeah, right. No, Scott is just an unrelated third party.
Okay.
That him and then two of Freddie's sons, I think, are the three that started Freddie's.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I can get you in contact with the person that would probably do it. He was Fantastic interview. You haven't listened to that one yet. It was a really fun.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
I
need to go back and listen to that one for sure.
He's very polished. He's done a lot of this. You can tell. So he's very.
He knows how to speak in front of the camera.
Camera and people and.
As does a lawyer, probably, right? You know exactly what to say.
I'm more of a pencil pusher. Yeah, but yeah, we can talk about lawyering.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready for another beer.
Go for it, man.
No, I'm not.
Hopefully 6 is enough for us tonight.
I gotta get home.
I know you guys drink beer on your podcast sometimes, don't you?
It's happened. And tequila.
Una
Vida. Shout out Una Vida. I'm just shouting everybody out. I don't know if you had Una Vida tequila yet, but it is dope. And
I don't know. I probably haven't. I just don't know it.
My buddy that started it, we went to high school with him too. Episode 6 of the podcast. Check it out.
Hell yeah.
So yeah. Spilling.
So tell me about being a lawyer. What do you do all day? How does that work?
This is going to be one of those cliche responses of like every day is different.
Yeah.
But it's true. I get in, I check my emails. I don't get a ton of emails, but I check them anyway. A lot of lawyering. So I'll tell you kind of what I do, kind of law I practice, and that'll maybe like float us into what a day looks like.
Yeah, man.
It's easier to tell you what I don't do. I don't do criminal law. I don't do medical malpractice. I don't do your like typical car crashes.
Like the Bull?
I'm not like the Bull. We're just down the road from the Bull, but I'm not like the Bull. I do a lot of like tax work, estate planning, corporate stuff, some real estate stuff, and then I do kind of your run of the mill people suing other people over stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And so, a day could look like contract review where I am either reading over contracts or writing contracts for people, whether it be like a lease agreement or somebody's buying something or some sort of like service agreement. Like I just did one for like a lawn mowing company, hiring them to do the stuff. So it could look like that. It could look like this morning where I won't get into the details, but it was kind of a rush job, and I had to put together like 4 different things I had to file with the court like immediately. Like pretty much all day today. And so that was pretty much writing out pleadings to file, telling a story. Being a lawyer is kind of like a storyteller.
Yeah.
We tell the story as we see it, spin the facts in our favor. And we just, we try to convince either the judge or the jury that our client's in the right. And so a lot of times it's like that.
Even if they're not?
No. Some lawyers, yes. That's a good question, because I had one recently where my client came to me and said, "These are the facts," and I said, "That's a great case. Let's do it." And throughout there's a process called discovery. Are you familiar with discovery?
No.
So lawyering is not like what you see on TV where people show up to the courtroom
where Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are going at each other.
Right.
And you're over there going, Amber, stop it.
Yeah. Well, right. That may be a little more like real life. But like TV shows like My Cousin Vinny and stuff like that.
Few Good Men.
Like it's not what you see. There's not like a surprise witness. There's not a surprise piece of evidence. Like everyone on both sides, and half the time even the judge knows walking in every piece of evidence, every witness that's going to testify, everything they're going to basically say. And we find all that out through the process called discovery. So we send questions called interrogatories where I say, tell me about, let's say my client's suing you. I would say, tell me about your education. Tell me about what happened in your point of view. Like, where did you calculate your damages? Like, what happened? And, half the time they object to half my questions because I probably can't ask them, but whatever.
Yeah, or you're asking the questions that they know. That
right,
like,
exactly.
You're digging too deep, buddy.
Right, and so you do that. We do also what's called request for document production, where we say, show me all of your tax returns for the last 3 years, or show me all your bank statements from the last 12 months, or show me any documentation you have on whatever it is for the case. And then we also have requests for admission, where we say, admit or deny that you did this, admit, deny that you did that. And throughout the discovery process, you learn more about your case. They learn more about their case, and a lot of times settlement talk comes in because it's like, all right, like neither one of our clients are really in the right and they're not really in the wrong. Let's just figure this out. And so going back to that client, they came to me and they said, this is our problem. And I said, great case. And throughout discovery, time and time again, the other opposing counsel, who's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say what the case was because there's a chance that he or she might listen to this, I guess. I mean, you have a big following, I'm sure.
Not as big as yours.
Well, it's all in numbers. And he was just like, he or she was just like, I don't understand like what your client's case, like, look at this. And by the end I was like, yeah, my client was like wrong.
Yeah. They're lying.
She was just, I don't think this one was lying. I think that she was a little clouded by the like facts and a little like,
it's one of those weird
it was
things.
a little sentimental. There was a sentimental reason behind it that she didn't want to, I think, admit that she was wrong.
It's like Seinfeld, going back to that reference, right? It's not a lie if you believe it.
You can pass a lie detector like that, yeah. I've always wondered if I could actually pass a lie detector like that.
There's people out there that are crazy. I'm sure you've seen this as a lawyer who convince themselves that they're right even though the facts aren't there.
Every one of my clients. And I say that in the utmost truth. That every one of my clients thinks they're more right than they are.
Yeah.
And it's my job to be like, you're wrong. And so I told her, I was like, you're wrong. If we were like a week away from trial. I was like, if we go to trial, you are going to lose.
Oh, so you'll tell somebody that. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I said, you're going to lose. I said, these are the facts as I see them. I don't think we can spin this any other way. You're going to lose. Like, they're not the facts you gave me when I took this case, but you're going to lose.
Did they back out?
So I convinced them to do a settlement, and it was low enough that the other side accepted.
How does it work, though, if they keep pushing you to do it?
Depends on the case.
Will you turn something down?
Like the settlement?
Well, like, let's say they're just like flat out in denial, and you're like, you're not going to win, and they're like, yes, I am. I know I'm right.
We would just probably drop them as a client.
Yeah.
They sign a document at the beginning saying if we disagree on some sort of point of the case, like we can drop you. Same for them. They can drop us if we disagree. I had my first person fire me recently.
Oh, really?
And no hard feelings. I have no idea how I'm going to look into their case eventually to see how it ended up. But yeah, I mean, we theoretically could. I mean, I don't want to say I make a habit of that. Like, I don't think I've ever actually done it.
Yeah. But you're not in the business of lying for somebody either, right? Or like,
no, I'm not
necessarily lying, but defending somebody that you know is clearly lying about it, or
right. I mean, I don't
might not win.
Right. I'm not. There are definitely probably attorneys that are, but I'm not. I like to think, to be honest with you, I mean, that's what this podcast is about. So all you attorneys out there listening, I'm calling you out. 90% of attorneys I deal with are assholes. Just absolutely just rude people. And
Shots fired.
Yeah, and I like to think that I am in the 10% of the nice lawyers. Probably makes me a bad lawyer, but I'm not gonna go past my convictions.
You have a moral code that you won't break.
I do, and I'm not gonna be an asshole to you. Like, I'll be tough, I'll be stern, but I'm not gonna be a dick.
Yeah, and
they are a lot of them. A lot of them in Wichita. I'm sure a lot of them in other cities. I'm sure this is not.
Why is that? Do you? Is it just part of the business? It's kind of like that. That shark mentality where you got to.
I do. I think so. Law school's a cutthroat place. And we can get into law school.
Tell me about law school.
Yeah, it's a cutthroat place, and it just kind of breeds cutthroat. And you have to be cutthroat to do this, right? I mean, law school itself is built to cut out the weak. Where I went to Syracuse up in New York, and it is built like
it's kind of like boot camp. It's
kind of
to wash out
your first year, like the bottom 10%, like don't go past the first year. Like they just kick them out of school.
Wow.
Or they put them on some sort of probation.
It's like the military
plan.
almost.
Yeah, kind of is.
You get washed out.
Yeah, and it's like if you are in that bottom 10%, like they'll put you on a probation plan, they'll kick you out, they'll do whatever. And it's built, the tests and the essays and all the stuff are built to fight against each other, right? So it's all graded on a curve. And it all depends on how well the best person does versus the worst person. So if you and I take the same test, and I get 99% of the test correct, but you get 100% of the test correct, we don't both get A's. You get the A, I'd get maybe an A minus. And
that's crazy.
And you put that against like 100 kids or 200 students in a class.
You all hate each other in school.
Yeah, no, there was talks of people who would, like, you'd have study groups and stuff. And there was talks of, I'm not going to say, this person's never going to listen to this podcast because he does not even live anywhere near Kansas and has no idea.
I hope he does, and I hope he comments on my shit.
Yeah, right. But like there was talks of like they would walk in like to a study room, like, hey, what are you guys studying? And they would erase the board Because it's a competition.
They don't want you to know.
They don't want you to know what they're studying.
That's
they don't want to
bizarre.
It's a competition. It does not breed like
because it doesn't benefit you to help each other study and to learn together. It doesn't benefit anybody.
What would benefit you is finding other people in other classes that are taking the same subject and studying with them.
That's insane, man. That's why I hate school.
And I mean, and there you are, your 1L year, your first year. That's what you're learning. It goes throughout law school. You go to the bar. The bar, I don't think is. I don't know if the bar is curved. I can't remember that. But you go to the bar, and it's just like, how much knowledge do you know about the law? And you just spit it all out. And it's nothing like law school. I mean, I was visibly pissed.
No, but everybody talks about the bar exam. Tell me what that all entailed.
So, okay, back in the olden days, the bar was different for every state. Every state had its own bar, and you take that state, you pass, great, and then you could go take another one if you wanted to, or you just practice in that state. A few years ago, few being like maybe like 10 years, I don't know the exact amount of time, a new type of bar kind of came in called the UBE, the Uniform Bar Exam.
Uh-huh.
And it started, states started adopting it, and it like, I think there's like maybe 30 plus states that recognize it now. And so you take the UBE, and if you pass the UBE, then you can waive into other states that have UBE. So like, if I wanted to, I could theoretically waive into Missouri, because Missouri and Kansas are both UBE. New York turned to UBE when I was in law school. I kind of had a feeling a lot of states would follow, because New York City, I think, has the most lawyers out of any, or at least New York probably has the most lawyers out of any state because of New York City.
Uh-huh.
And so in New York you take the UBE, and you also have to take a New York state specific test.
Real quick, not to interrupt, but how did you end up in Syracuse?
So, I went to Oklahoma State for undergrad.
Uh-huh.
I'm born and raised Wichita. In fact, my parents still live in the house that I grew up in, and we just bought a house in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. So I'm going to be like a minute walk from my parents, and it's be great with the kids and stuff. But I went to OSU, had a great time at OSU. I went to a small school. I went to independent in private school here in Wichita, and I went to OSU and had kind of that bigger college public school vibe, and had a good time. But I was just too close to home. I mean, OSU is technically closer than K-State and KU, driving wise, and so it was a good time. But I was just too close to home, and I was like, you know what? I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I still don't. Really.
After you got your bachelor's degree?
Yeah. I got my undergrad in hotel and restaurant administration.
Okay.
Hospitality. Didn't really want to work in a hotel. Didn't really want to work in a restaurant. Knew that I wanted to go get another degree, like an advanced degree.
Uh-huh.
But didn't know what. I was like, all right, I guess law school. Not the reason you should go to law school.
That's a crazy one to pick.
Yeah. Well,
you don't know what you want to do.
My mom always wanted to be a lawyer. People said I'd be good at it. I took a law class, like a hospitality law class in college, and I crushed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, lawyer. And so I figured this was my opportunity to get away from Kansas and get far away as possible to experience another part of the country.
Uh-huh. So
I applied all over. I applied all the way from Oregon to, I guess, farthest east would have probably been like St. John's and Queens. And I think I applied to 16 schools, got into 9. Syracuse was far, and they gave me a hell of a scholarship. Because no one wants to go to school in the middle of Syracuse, New York, where it snows literally the most out of any city in America.
Yeah.
And so they gave me a ton of money.
You must have had some killer grades then.
It was okay.
You know?
They were okay. Yeah. Most of my friends that went to Syracuse went because of the money. They just had, they had a big endowment. And so I went to Syracuse, got my JD, Juris Doctor. So I'm technically a doctor of law.
Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave is what they call me. I also got an MBA while I was there.
Damn, man.
Because I just wanted to, I knew that, part of the reason I went to Syracuse too is they had a dual program, and I knew my scholarship would cover if I stayed. It was a 4-year program. I got done in 3.5 because I'm an overachiever. And
you're a go-getter, dude.
I'm a go-getter. I'm a
Holy
go-getter.
shit, you got some brains up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, I'm slowly killing them, but they are up there.
We're all slowly killing them, but damn, you started out with a nice set, didn't you?
Thank you. Yeah, I did. And so there's the July bar and the February bar. I took the February bar because I got done in December. So the UBE in that is 2 days. First day is essays. You have 6 30-minute essays, so they give you 3 hours. So you just do them in kind of how fast you can do them. And they could be over, if I remember correctly, I want to say 16 or 18 different subjects. Some of them will be like more than one subject, but you won't get all of them. You'll get a lot of them. And so these subjects could be like contracts, land, property, criminal, civil procedure, criminal procedure, family law.
So it's six subjects out of those.
Yes.
Many different subjects
yes.
that you just randomly get.
They give you a prompt and they say, I opened up my first one and it was something like, this guy's selling tomatoes to this other guy, and something went through, like, discuss whether, like, he had a contract.
Yeah.
And so I discussed, well, you know, he probably had a contract, but there was no writing. And I got into, like, statute of frauds where it had to be in writing. And I got into, like, merchants. Merchants have kind of like different laws because they're merchants, and it was a whole thing, right? And so I had like that. I had like a family law. I had like a corporate law one. I did not have secured transactions. I really wanted secured transactions, where they basically, you know, somebody puts down some sort of secured interest, and do they record it? Did they do all this stuff like mortgages and stuff like that? But I did not have one of those. So that's your first. I think that was your first 3 hour period. Your second 3 hour period that day. 3 hours? Yeah. Second 3 hour period that day is they give you kind of, I think they're called like closed world essays. There's 2 of them. And I kind of describe them as they're essays that any average Joe could go in and like take a stab at. So what they'll do is they'll say, I can't even remember what mine is, but it's like they give you almost the law and then you have to apply it to the situation. It's like a made up law or a made up city. I think one of mine was like, I had to write like the judge's like ruling. Like they gave you like this thing and you had to like type out like.
And it's like just a completely fake scenario.
Yeah. And it's like not real law necessarily. It's like
they could give you some bullshit made up alien law.
Yeah.
And you have to apply it to the situation.
Yeah. Lawyers' favorite thing to do is they say, we're in the state of, and then they like pick like something that you could feel. So like we're in the state of confusion, or but confusion's the city or the state that you're actually in, or the state of, you know, whatever. And so they just give you like random law and you have to apply it to the situation. And there's 2 of those, so you have an hour and a half to do both.
God, that's so insane, dude.
And then day 2, you have 2 3-hour segments where you take 100 multiple choice questions, and those multiple choice questions are over. I think it's 16 for the essays, and so they're over 8 subjects for the multiple choice.
Hardest test you've ever taken in your life?
Maybe not, actually, because you study for like 2 months, and I'm a pretty good test taker.
Is there any way to cheat on it? Were there people that cheated that you knew?
No, there are people that handwrite their essays, which is weird. I type mine like a normal human being, but there's a whole section of people in the back handwriting them. It was
like, is there any way, like, especially the multiple choice part, are there ways to find those questions or find similar questions where it just makes it a lot easier?
Yeah, I mean, I just like, I had an app.
And the essays you can't fake.
No,
Obviously.
yeah, I had an app, and basically anytime I was like waiting for something, like instead of scrolling Instagram, I was just like answering multiple choice questions. And they give you like kind of like the reasoning, and it's like, I mean, it's a pretty simple
it's like a practice test.
Yeah, and every question is based in one single like fundamental law, right? So it's like, you know, person A is walking. The one that got me was like, this was in a practice test. Person A is walking down the street, walking their dog. The dog's leash hits person B and knocks over person B. Is it what we call a tort? Torts being like a civil wrong committed against somebody else. And the answer was yes, because the leash is an extension of your hand. And so it was a tort or whatever. I mean,
damn, dude, there's so many crazy
if there's anyone
things
listening that was like, that's not the real law, like, I'm sorry, like, it's been several years since I've taken the bar. But it was things like that.
That's so crazy. Yeah. You're skimming through like literally every scenario situation that could possibly happen with our own written laws.
But like, honestly, some of the questions are just like so easy. It was just like, you know, person A and person B wrote down a contract, and there was like these several elements. Like there's an offer, there was an acceptance, there was a consideration, all the elements of a contract.
Yeah.
Is it a contract? And your answer is like, yes, because it had all the elements, or no, yes, because of something else, or no, because it didn't have all the elements, or no, because it didn't, whatever. And you knew, yeah, it has all the elements. That's a contract. And you just move on to the next question. The bar is really there to test, do you know the laws that we like? I mean, they weren't hiding the ball. Law school hides the ball. They hide the hell out of the ball. They'll put all these different little things you won't even notice, all these different like subjects that you could talk about or like different whatevers. But the bar wants to see, do you know it? And so it's literally like on that tomato one, like I wrote down everything I knew about contracts.
So it can be pretty black and white then, is what you're saying.
The bar is more black and white than like law school or the real world. Yeah, it's way more black and white.
What's one of the dumbest laws you've ever come across? Can you think of any off the top of your head?
I kind of think adverse possession is kind of dumb. I get it.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I get it. I'll tell you what it is. I get why it exists, but it's kind of dumb. Adverse possession is a way that you can legally steal someone else's property. And it typically isn't stealing the property. Like you're not going out and purposely stealing it.
Yeah.
But like I'll give you an example of do you own a house?
Yeah.
You have a fence?
I do.
You find out you've lived there. You probably haven't lived there for 15 years.
No, 6 months.
6 months. Okay. 15 years, 14 years and 6 months from now, you find out that your fence was a foot on that person, your next door neighbor's property.
Uh-huh.
I think Kansas is 15 years. If you have, over those 15 years, acted as if the fence was on your property, maintained the fence, held out the fence as it's your own, basically said, that's my fence and that's on my property, and no one disagreed with you for 15 years, you could go to the court and get what's called like a quiet title and say, and extend your property by that foot.
So you can just fake it till you make it, almost.
I mean, yeah.
Pretend it's all kosher.
But the problem is the second if before that 15 years runs, the second that your next door neighbor goes, oh, that's actually on my property, you need to move that fence, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Now you could have what's called an easement where they allow you to have that fence on their property and it's still their property, but they've allowed you to have kind of that foot. Like the house I'm in currently before we move, I think there's like a 6 foot easement from 6 feet out from my fence to my neighbors in the back. 6 feet out into my property is technically his property.
Yeah.
But I have an easement. I mean, I bought the house. I didn't build the fence, but I have an easement to have the fence there. I have to mow it. I have to maintain it and stuff like that. I can't just adversely possess it because...
Would it be possible for you to purchase it, though? Even if it's only like a foot?
Sure, you can purchase anything you want.
Yeah, if they want to sell it to you?
Pretty much. If somebody wants to sell it to you and it's not illegal.
What about as far... This is a weird one. Like, as far as airspace goes above your property. You have your lot in town, right?
Yeah.
How far up do you own?
I think all the way.
All the way to space?
Uh-huh.
That means planes are crossing through your property?
Yeah, but they have easements. I think. Once again, if I'm wrong, don't quote me. I don't.
So if I fly a drone over your property and I'm just staring through your windows, that's illegal.
You're trespassing, yeah.
You're trespassing.
Uh-huh.
But when you get to 30,000 feet, are you trespassing?
Are we in the stratosphere?
I don't know. I mean, there's not a line where it ends, though, right?
I'm pretty sure.
That's where it gets weird.
I'm pretty sure that the property you own is all the way up. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I don't deal with it very often. But
it's kind of strange.
That does get into interesting. You can own property all the way up, but you don't necessarily own the property below. That's oil law. People can own the lot above the oil, but the people underneath that own.
Yeah, that's
it's two different things.
What is that, like a resource type deal where people claim the resources underneath that land or whatever?
I don't deal in that very much.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really. But yeah, I think all the way up.
So if I fly
all
a drone,
the way up.
Let's say I fly a drone just through town and I'm like 20 feet in the air. Technically, I'm trespassing everybody's property.
Yeah, probably.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, they could shoot your drone down if they wanted to. And they'd probably have.
They'd probably have
cause. They'd probably have cause. Yeah. Yeah. So the law is a very vast place. I kind of am jealous of other lawyers that like practice in specific areas. And
like car wrecks or just
car wrecks or like family law or like whatever. Like I have a custody hearing tomorrow. Like I don't do much family law at all. I have a custody hearing tomorrow. Like I'm going up against somebody who does a lot of family law and they know how family law works better than I do necessarily. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that I'm pretty sure I put on a pretty good lawyering for my client.
So you're actually in court and you're arguing for your client. I mean, it isn't like TV in that sense then, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like TV is always just trials and like there's so much more like hearings and stuff that go on before trials. Like, I mean, it's just a hearing tomorrow on whether or not, whatever. It's a custody related thing. I
was going to ask you, like, how much of your job is paperwork versus actually being there talking with your client or talking in court?
Me personally, 98% of my job is done from my office.
It's paperwork.
Yeah. I don't go to court very often.
Does it get real mundane and just boring over time?
It changes a lot.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, I do anything for like I'll do your estate plan. I will do your taxes or give you tax advice. I will form some companies for you. I will look over contracts or form contracts for that company. I'll sue somebody for you. It's very vast. I mean, like I said earlier, my day-to-day changes every day. Like today I did a lot of paperwork. Tomorrow I am in court.
I mean, that's a cool part of your job.
Yeah.
That it changes every day. I mean, for somebody like you probably enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was a little more niche of like the specific law that I'm practicing, but yes, the everyday change is nice. Although nowadays you're not even really in court anymore. Some judges, with COVID, some judges are coming, like we still have to go down to the courthouse and there's like no one there. Most judges are just going to Zoom. Yeah. We just hop on a Zoom call. I'm in my basement with shorts on and a suit and tie. And
does that get weird though, as far as like recording stuff? Couldn't people record the whole court?
They do record
the entire trial or whatever.
Yeah. But trials, I don't know if they're doing a short trial. They might do over Zoom still.
What about, there's ones though where they don't allow any cameras or anything in there, right?
Yeah, and I don't really know what the specifics are on that. But like, so this is I think public knowledge. I'm involved in a very high profile civil case right now that's going on in town. And we had a hearing, it's been a few months ago, and I didn't even realize it, but there were reporters in the hearing.
Yeah.
And that night on the news, like I was on the news, like they recorded our hearing.
Really?
And like everyone's texting me, they're like, I saw you on the news. Damn. And it's just me like sitting there, you don't even hear me. I'm just like, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know reporters were in there.
Yeah.
And we just had a hearing 2 Fridays ago. And we had a reporter from Wichita State in there. So I knew she was in there at that time.
Have you ever seen some crazy shit go down in a courtrum?
Yes.
People screaming or yelling?
No. I'll give you this one because
let me hear it.
This one I'll tell you this one because I was interning at the time. I'm not going to give you the full thing because it'd probably take too long. But it was a very sad case. This is one of those cases. Actually, I almost brought it up earlier when you said, what do you do when you defend somebody you know is wrong? Mm-hmm. This is the perfect example. Without getting too deep into it, I was interning at the public defender's office in Wichita, and I was shadowing these 2 attorneys who for this trial they were having, and the guy was accused of basically sexually molesting his like 6-year-old stepdaughter.
God damn.
Yeah, and they had on recording, like him admitting to it.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like, he admitted to it. They played that for the jury. What do you do in that situation when you know your client's wrong? To be honest, you just make sure it's a fair trial at that point because you don't want something to go wrong and then something happens down the road that they can like appeal the process. I say that, my cousin is a criminal defense attorney. And up in Kansas City, and he's probably going to listen to this. So I am switching because he will most likely listen to this because he's a very religious listener to the Wichita Podcast and 3M6.
He should come on. If he's listening right now, you need to come down here and come on.
Dude, he honestly, you guys would probably drink not alcohol because he's not really an alcohol drinker.
That's fine. We don't have to drink alcohol.
But he is, he would be a great person.
A defense attorney would be cool.
Dude, he would be because he takes it so much further than just representing somebody that, he does a wonderful job just representing somebody that allegedly committed a crime. He is he's a big advocate in like the mental health behind why people commit crimes or allegedly commit crimes.
Yeah.
And he looks into all sorts of like research and stuff, like statistics of like, his clients had like, troubled childhoods, only knew life of crime, whatever. And so he would be the perfect person to ask those questions of how do you represent somebody in those situations. So I will, like I said, he'll probably listen to this, but if he doesn't, I'll text him.
It'd be cool to have somebody on there like that could, yeah.
I love
the psychology of people that are real twisted too, you know? And he probably knows way more about it than I do, and that'd be so cool. Yeah. Hear like the psychology behind a serial killer or...
Right. And so anyway, I was in that case, and there was a lot of like messed up stuff that happened, but basically he went up on the stand, the guy, and he like admitted to everything. He wanted to like tell his story because he didn't think like, I don't know. He said something along the lines of, it's not a question of whether or not I'm guilty. It's a question of whether or not what I'm guilty of, because there were like 6 counts of different things. And he firmly believed he was not guilty of all 6 counts.
But surely the lawyer was telling him, don't go up there and say that, right?
So she went on the record and said, I'm advising my client not to go up there, but he wants to go up there anyway. It's his choice.
Yeah.
He does not
At
have
the end
to.
of the day.
Well, and in a criminal defense, I think it's the same kind of way in civil, but criminal, the defendant does not have to testify. And the jury and the judge, whoever's the trier of fact, cannot use the fact that they don't testify as a reason why they're guilty. Right? Like they have that choice to not do it if they choose not to for whatever reason. And so she said, yeah, I don't want him to go up there. And I don't know, man, he went up there and he did some weird stuff and like, he like acted out this thing. Like he was like, oh, there's no way that I could have done this because, and he was like acting it out. It was weird.
What a weirdo.
Dude, it was odd. And I mean, he was convicted and it was a whole thing. But it's,
I mean, everybody in that courtroom, including his attorney, probably thinks, this guy's a total piece of shit. Nobody wants him to walk out of here. I don't know how that would even feel as a lawyer or an attorney, but it's got to be like,
it's
because people probably look at you weird then too if you're defending that person, right?
Yeah, could
even if you
I don't deal with it, but yeah.
Oh man, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre position to be in.
It's bizarre. We it's a kind of back to the whole breeding competitive attitudes and competitive people. You fight hard for your clients because you want them to win. And, a lot of people ask me, like, what do you enjoy most about being a lawyer? And my answer usually is lawyers are put in a position that are like in a very unique position of being able to care for someone that has no one else in this situation, right? I've got a lot of clients who are in just, to put it frankly, shitty situations.
Mm-hmm.
And without a lawyer, they're screwed. And so I really think that I feel like their dad sometimes, right? Like just trying to protect them, trying to get them, if it's some sort of damage that was caused to them, trying to get some sort of money, something to give them some solace at night to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do enjoy that. And so you fight for these people. And so I think that a lot of attorneys kind of turn into dicks because they're fighting for their person. And I think that a lot of times, I mean, it has to happen to other attorneys. It can't just be me. Clients come in all the time. I already said it. And they tell you their side of the story and it's not completely there.
Right.
So now I'm on the other side saying, okay, my client's telling me this. And they're like, well, your client's an idiot. Like that didn't happen, but they don't know all the information either.
Yeah.
And so they kind of come across as a douche.
Really, nobody knows all the information.
And no one ever will.
Yeah, nobody ever will.
No.
But I mean, even, especially like who you were talking about, was that your brother you said, or your brother-in-law?
My cousin?
Up in Kansas City? Cousin. Sorry, yeah.
I'm moving on.
Like when you're looking into the psychology of somebody, if they are mentally ill and there's something going on there, you want them to get the best help they can rather than just get...
Well, that's what he's a big advocate of. Like, he'll tell you the stats of like people that are in prison and like these people need help. They need help.
Yeah.
They don't need to go sit in a prison for the rest of their lives.
It's not going to do anything to sit in prison.
They're just going to rot in prison for the rest of their lives.
Right. And so many people go to prison and then get released after 5 years, and what the hell did that do?
Yep.
And they just probably made them worse.
Well, a lot of people, I mean, I'm not gonna get into this. I don't know the statistics or like really, but a lot of people like they get comfortable in prison. They want to be back in there. I mean, I had
That's crazy, dude.
Another example when I was at the public defenders. I had this guy, awesome dude. He was super cool. Was acquitted of everything. He found not guilty. Like he didn't do what they said he did, but he spent I think like November to July in prison or in jail, for a crime that he did not commit. But he was homeless.
Yeah.
And he had a roof and 3 square meals for that time.
Sure. It's better than the streets.
You know what I mean? Like, and he was a little like, he was like a little, not like, I mean, he had like kind of like, he had to walk with like a cane.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's not like, he wasn't like out there earning a ton of money. He was homeless and he had a place to stay. And like, I get that. Like, I mean, sure. I would, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that being in jail is better than,
than being homeless or on
right. I mean, that's not what I'm going to say, but I'm just saying he did have a roof. He had a roof over his head. He had 3 square meals a day. He had activities. He had things going on. You get how some people are like, I would just rather be in jail.
I get it. I totally get it.
But like that's, it's just that's not the way it should go.
Shawshank Redemption, Right. I know it's just a Hollywood movie, but you remember when Brooks, he leaves and he gets out and he just was like, I don't like this world. Yep. I like those walls I was in. Yep. I was known there. I was wanted there. I was accepted there.
Yep.
It's a crazy thing.
not my area of expertise. So I think we've extended the amount I can talk about.
Gone off subject
before Mark's calling me on tomorrow, and it's just like, you're an idiot. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think we covered what we
were.
I think I asked you what's the craziest thing you've ever seen, and that's some dark shit.
Yeah,
dealing with some dark people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just people yelling at each other.
Yeah,
a lot of times it's attorneys yelling at each other. You see a lot of attorneys who are like, they seem friendly outside of court, and then they get in there and they're just
animals.
They're just undercuts here and like little passive aggressive shots there, and it's like it has nothing to do with the case.
Yeah,
that's nothing. It's just two attorneys with two egos, but battling.
Do a lot of you guys? I mean, even if you're not a defense attorney, do you get emotionally involved in some of these cases?
I mean, I kind of do. Yeah,
and,
I mean,
you really want your client to win, and you really want them to pull through.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 0 of my clients, including those that have maybe not told me all the right facts, who I've not wanted to win. I mean, I'm there for them. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm the person that gets them some solace at the end of the night, depending on what it is. I have these people right now who are out of a house, and we're trying to get them back in the house. And it's a whole thing. I feel bad for them, but unfortunately, the legal world is, especially with COVID slowing things down, it is a very large grinding machine that takes forever.
Yeah.
I mean, you will, like, I have this one case that it's sort of urgent. We kind of need to get an answer soon. And it's possible that we may not have a hearing until like mid-October. Yeah. And here we are in just August 1st.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
a lot of people use that to their advantage too. I heard a hot mic scenario one time. I forget which. It was somebody that was real high profile that just is involved in getting sued all the time and stuff, rich as hell. And it was a hot mic or something, and they were like, "Well, we just do what everyone else does. You just drag out these lawsuits forever, and then you die, and then it's all gone.
All billable hours, baby."
Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, yeah,
works?
Yeah. I have a case right now that I'm convinced the attorneys on the other side are just dragging it on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm convinced they don't want what they say they want, and they want us to just settle for a large sum of money. Is what it is.
Because you can just keep postponing it in some ways, can't you?
The judge will eventually make you.
Yeah.
A lot. This goes kind of back to the criminal world, and this would be a better question for my cousin Mark, but those criminal attorneys are in court way more often than us civil attorneys are, and they have several criminal defendants who have hearings all on the same day because they set them a lot on the same day or the same area, and so they have to push things all the time because like, well, I've already got 3 hearings this day, whatever. There's always reasons to push things. I mean, I don't think you could ever push something indefinitely, but yeah, I mean, I have plenty of cases that I'm like, if we don't settle this case, we're not going to see here we are almost.
We're not going to see a resolution ever. It's just going to drag on.
Well, or like, I mean, I had one case last year that like, it's still going on. This is the one that they're kind of dragging their feet. We sued them almost a year ago. So like August, September of last year. And I said, let's try to have a settlement here. And I'm like, look, if we don't settle this thing, like the ultimate objective of what you are trying to get, what you claim that you're trying to get, your client's not going to see it before 2023, maybe 2024 at this rate. And this was in 2021. And here we are in 2022, and we still haven't gotten
crazy,
there.
Man.
And I'm just like,
years of your life as a lawyer are being taken up by certain clients. Right?
You know what speaking of years, you know what the funniest thing to me is though, being a lawyer?
What?
I'm 31, almost 32. I have cases all the time that all of the stuff that allegedly happened when I was like 3. And here I am arguing it.
That's insane.
And my clients are like, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. And I'm just like, I'll look at the day and I'm like, well, I was at the high school prom that night.
I was in preschool when that happened. Yeah.
Seriously. I had one case that I was like, if I remember right, I was like 3 or 4 when everything went down.
Weird.
And I'm like, going to go in there and argue. And I'm like waiting for the judge to be like, well, why didn't you make a better contract? Judge, I was 3. I wasn't the one that made the contract.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought of stuff like that.
It's hilarious. I work for a guy who has been practicing for like 45 years. And so he has a lot of like older clients, and they have problems that crop up that happened. They're now, they have a lease agreement that's 50 years long or whatever, and something's coming up now. And it's just like these clients come in, they're like 70s, 80s, and I'm just like I've been practicing for a little over 4 years now, but when I started, it's just like I'm a 28-year-old kid who's just like, hey man,
it's crazy.
you know,
God damn.
That's crazy that your multi-million-dollar thing that happened in 1993 when I was 3 years old is coming to a head. But I'm here to help.
And do you get a cut of all that stuff when you're helping a client? Like, how does that all work?
I'm just on a salary.
You're grouped into that group of like, you know, doctors, lawyers, those big ones that you hear about.
Right. So
you guys are always, is it safe to say you're always going to be very comfortable in your position?
Probably doing the type of stuff I do.
Yeah.
I just get a salary. I don't get an actual cut of the percentage of what I bill. That's not how I would say most attorneys do it.
Is that because you work for a firm or something and they just pay you a straight salary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I work for a very small firm. I know other lawyers who, you know, get paid a base rate, but then they also get a percentage of what they bill.
Okay.
That's not how mine is. It's fine. It really, I get paid more than I probably should. Once again, I hope my boss is not listening.
But is it safe to say, like, if somebody's thinking about being a lawyer, that you can make a great living doing it, and you probably will?
Yes. I mean, depends on how you go about it, right? If you want to work for some big firm where there's like 100 attorneys and it's a grind and you're working 80 hours a week, yeah, you can probably get paid pretty well doing that.
Yeah.
But if you want to go out on your own and just open a practice, I have a buddy from law school who's just opened up his own practice in Boston. I'm like, I hope it works out. Yeah, I mean, it's how do you get your own clients, right? Like, I'm blessed that I work for a small enough firm that, like, you know, I'm one of 2 attorneys there, and we have clients for, you know, we get clients pretty easily. We don't have to advertise a whole lot. We have enough steady. There's only 9 of us that are, it's like 9 or 10 of us that are technically like employed there. So like the bills, and we do a lot of tax returns for people. Like we do a lot of, our office is kind of your one-stop shop for small business. We do a lot of different things. So we make a lot of good money, and all of us get paid better than we probably should doing our jobs. We're very fortunate where we're at. But, you know, if you're just trying to go out on your own, like you have to find your own clients, and then you have to hope those clients pay. I can't tell you how many clients don't pay. I mean, it's unbelievable how many clients don't. Oh my goodness. It's unreal how many people don't pay.
Can you sue them then for that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have done that recently even.
Fight for yourself for that?
Yeah. So we sued recently for, technically both of us had billed. So we sued and he ended up paying us all.
Would you defend yourself in court if you were going to court for something?
So they always say that you're not supposed to defend yourself, even if you're an attorney.
Really?
That's what they say.
Ted Bundy did it.
Yeah. Well,
he also got the electric chair.
Yeah, right. So didn't go so hot. I've been involved in 2 lawsuits of my own. One of them was the one I just told you where we sued for legal fees. The other one, I had my boss be my attorney, and we ended up settling very quickly.
So if the bosses of these firms, like if somebody owns a lawyer firm, they're probably a lawyer. Is that right?
Typically, yeah.
Has it ever happened, or have you ever seen it where the guy isn't a lawyer or gal?
I have.
And they just open a firm and just hire lawyers.
Seen it? It'd be kind of weird.
You
I don't know
have to
how
start
you.
with a bunch of money.
I guess
probably.
I guess if you're really good at like advertising and hobnobbing people.
Yeah.
If you just like want to golf with clients all day and then send them to the attorneys, that'd work. I've heard of people. Now this was like in Arizona, I want to say, but a buddy of mine's dad's friend. I think he was a lawyer, but he was like the attorney or the guy for the firm that just golfed with the clients.
That'd be a hell of a job, dude.
Unreal job. Unbelievable job.
Probably
I'm
get
not
paid
going
a
to find
fair
that in
amount
Wichita.
too.
Yeah.
Just to go and golf with people. It's all paid for.
It'd be unreal.
I'd sign up for that.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
That's my dream. Maybe if somebody's listening to me on this podcast, like this guy can drink with people, I'm going to send him out to golf.
Yeah.
Can't golf worth a shit, but
what do you do? I know this has been about me, but what do you do?
I do cybersecurity.
Okay.
Yeah. So
with my father-in-law.
With your father-in-law.
Well, he said he knew you from Guard.
Yeah.
Were you at his retirement?
I was.
Okay. Yeah. We were there.
Were you really?
His little granddaughter.
That's crazy.
That's my daughter.
Yeah. He went to London, I think, or
he did.
UK.
They just got back.
Yeah.
Yep. So you know my boy Guy Taylor?
I love him.
Love Guy Taylor.
I work with Guy Taylor right now.
Do you? Tell him I said what up. He loves me. They were at my wedding.
Yeah.
His son Quincy and I grew up. We were best friends together growing up.
That's amazing, dude. That's such a small world.
So did you ever work for the government? The DOD or whatever?
Yeah, I still do. We're all in cyber out there.
Do you know Kim Hahn?
No.
He might be before your time.
No, I don't.
That was my father. My father was Ian's boss there for a while.
Yeah.
Before I met my wife.
Well, we work in cybersecurity basically for the most part. I mean, we're becoming more of a cyber wing now. So
cool.
That's all I do there. But
tell me about your career over this beer. It's been fun.
It's been a blast.
We're not done, are we?
Yeah. Well, we're already at an hour and 10 minutes.
You're the boss of how long you want this to go. My wife literally said, Doesn't matter when you get home, I'll be asleep. So
well, shit, let's just drag it out all night. Let's go to the bar after this.
Well, I may not be able to pull that off. We'll head down to Kraus Liquor. I'm sure you got to
go to Kraus Liquor. Yeah, there you go. Shout out to my
40
cousins.
in a brown bag and just see where the night takes us.
Sit on the curb out front.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm all about that, dude.
All about that life. All about that life.
I don't think I have any other questions as far as being a lawyer. Do you have any advice for people out there that would go that route if somebody's thinking about it?
Yeah. Law school itself is a grind, but it's built that way, like I said. I give the advice. Somebody gave me the advice when I started law school, and I took it and used it, and it worked well. So I give the advice to upcoming lawyers: treat law school like a job, if it works for you. So for me, from 8 to 5, I got up early. I went to school at 8. If I didn't have class, I was reading. If I had class, I'd go to class, obviously. But I was just at the law school from 8 to 5. And so if I was in class, I'd be in class. If I wasn't in class, I'd be reading, preparing for class, whatever. And then 5 o'clock would hit. I'd go home. I'd have my night, just like a job. I wouldn't have homework in that sense, and I would just chill. And
you would never really take it home with you?
Typically not. I try not to.
That's a good way to do it. I
like
that.
And then I did a little bit on the weekends too. But I mean, you're reading like 100 plus pages a day because you have like 5 classes the next day and they each want you to read 20 pages. So yeah, I mean, I am the worst reader in the world. I pick the worst. I don't like to argue. I don't like confrontation. I don't like to read. I picked the worst job.
That's opposite of a lawyer, right?
That's absolutely. And so
you're just smart enough to do it. And you're like, hell yeah, I did that.
Just like,
now you're a doctor.
Yeah, right. Doctor of law, doctor of jurisprudence.
You want to put doctor in your title here on this podcast?
You can.
Yeah, Dr. Dave.
Please don't. It's kind of like a running, like if you call yourself a doctor in the law world, you're a douche nozzle.
People think you're a douchebag.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, it's just, you treat it like it is, like a job. And so, and then, honestly, that just kind of floats into the everyday, right? You just treat your job like I work just like anyone else.
Right.
There are days that I have to work. I went in a little early today because I had a bunch of stuff to get done. But there are days where I work, normal hours. Mm-hmm. It just depends on the day. My cousin Mark, he works probably 7 days a week, but that's what he loves doing it.
He's all about it.
He's all about that base.
And you like podcasting. So you come home and do podcasts.
I do.
This doesn't feel like a job though, does it? I love this.
This isn't. It is a little bit of a job because we do have to do research for our job.
That's true. You guys do a lot of research on your subject.
We do a lot of research on our job. The blogging of the food, the podcasts where we interview the owners of restaurants, the videos where we just eat large amounts of food, little less research. Love that. It's so much fun.
Would you do a video with me sometime? Invite me out to come eat a large amount of food with you?
Sure. Where do you want to go? Has to be local.
I don't know. I was just reading about a place the other day called Vietnam Nam that's about to close.
Are they closing?
I think so, yeah.
Because they have the 10-pound.
They have the 10-pound pho thing.
Yeah.
I don't see.
We were going to split
possible,
that.
Dude.
My buddy and I were going to split that. We're like, no way.
I don't think it's possible.
And
I would never try it, but I did read about they were closing, and I was like, holy shit, that's a place with a big bowl of pho.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll have to check out when they're closing because it's on our list of places to do. We just did West Street Burger, the 4-3-2-1 challenge.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
4 3/4-pound burgers, 2 pounds of fries in 1 hour. That's the video.
For one person?
One person. That's the video that'll be coming out next for us. We just took it. We just attempted it on Friday. I won't say how we did. We didn't win.
How'd you feel after it?
I went and played poker afterwards. I was like this.
Just pure strength.
I was like 50 cents. Yeah. We ate a lot of food that night.
I think I could mow down some pizza. Are there any big pizza challenges around here?
We did. So our first episode, have you ever been to AJ's?
Oh yeah.
Just got bought out, so it's probably not. It's not called AJ's anymore, and the recipe may change. It's a whole
over in the alley.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we did. The two of us tried to take down a Superdome. That's our episode. If you're watching tomorrow, which is today for you, you can go Google Pig Out Bros. That's the one we have.
If you're watching this, it's Tuesday.
August 2nd.
Yep. Tuesday, August 2nd. Go check it out.
Pig Out Bros.
Yeah.
But we have some other cool ideas that we're floating around of. I think we're going to try to take down some taco shop tacos.
Oh, man. I've always told people, I bet I could eat 30 of those things.
We're going to try to do 24.
Yeah?
Because they come in 12 packs.
I think you can. I think
I could do 24.
Honestly, because if you eat 10 of them, you're not even really...
We decided we have to do a challenge that we can actually complete.
Yeah.
Kind of our motto, our joke is we're # supporting local by losing because you have to pay for the the competitions when you lose.
Yeah.
So we're still supporting local.
So they love that shit because you guys
do.
are paying for it all and you don't make it. Yeah.
But we will probably we'll be able to take down 24 tacos from Taco Shop. We're in talks with some other places about doing some stuff, so it's fun.
Awesome, man. I love it. You're doing some good stuff out there. You know that?
Thank you. So for all those out there listening, you probably listen to podcasts.
Hopefully.
It seems likely at this point. So go check out the Wichita Podcast if you don't mind.
Yes.
And
all of your stuff is in my description. Go to my YouTube description right now.
Yes.
And find his social media pages.
WichitaPodcast.com, 3m6.com. Pretty self-explanatory.
3m6. That's letter or the
3
number 3.
YUM
6.
Number 6. You can also type it out. THREEYUMSIX. That's actually our handles on social media because 3m6 was taken. Or no, it wasn't taken. It just didn't exist. You can't take it. So we had to type out 3m6.
Oh, okay.
But it's play on 316.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm trying to get my buddy to do 785. ATE, and he's gonna do like Sline and McPherson and stuff like that. That's down the road, you know. I mean,
that's badass.
All under the Wichita Podcast LLC. So
yeah, for sure. Go check him out, guys. Go listen to him. He's putting out some good stuff on there, and maybe at some point I'll come on your podcast.
We would love that.
Can we make that happen?
We would love that. Yeah,
let's do it.
We should do it. I'm trying to think when. We'll
do whatever, man. I'm a big eater, so I'll come eat with you. I'll do whatever.
You for sure should come eat with us. You should for sure come drink beer with me and Ian.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do, set it up, and I'll be there.
Cool.
Deal?
Let's do it.
All righty, guys. That's David Hahn. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Hell of an episode.
We might just hang out and finish this beer and
who knows what'll happen after this.
I don't know. It's early.
These podcasts are so easy for me because I have a podcaster on that knows how to talk on a microphone.
Well, that's true.
I don't really have to do it. Let's sit here and have a beer.
Hey, 3 beers.
3 beers. Shout out to Walnut River again. All right, David, thank you so much, brother. Cheers.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you soon.
Yes.